Hello again, my name's John. I'm a retired cook from the northeast of England in the UK, and welcome to my 200th video recipe. And in this recipe I'll show you how we make another one of our customers' most popular dishes, and it's this mouth-watering creamy chicken ham and mushroom pie recipe. And once again I'll be using my very easy and delicious hot water crust pastry method. You can view the ingredients list and full written method for this recipe on the recipe page on the channel's website. I'll leave a link in the description under the video, or you can click on the eye icon top right of the screen to take you directly to the recipe page. I'd also like to thank my Patreon, PayPal and Super Thanks supporters for their very kind help in producing these tutorial videos. Your amazing financial support really helps with ever-increasing equipment, ingredient and editing software costs. I'll be giving you all a name splash and shout out a little later in the video. Okay, let's get on with today's recipe. I'll start the recipe by making the hot water crust pastry. Put the water in a small pan and bring it to a simmer. Now add the salt to the flour and mix it in. This hot water crust pastry has got to be the easiest and tastiest pastry you can make. Add the butter and lard to the hot water and stir until it melts. If you don't use lard, which is a pork product, or you simply can't find it where you live, you can use a solid vegetable fat instead. Make a well in the flour and add the hot liquid. Using my trusty wooden spoon handle, I'll bring it all together. At this point I'll swap to my bowl scraper to finish it off and scrape down the sides of the bowl. Now tip the dough out onto the bench and fold it together until you have a smooth ball. Try not to overwork the dough at this stage, because the more you knead pastry dough, the tougher the finished pastry could be. Using your bench scraper, cut the pastry into 2 equal pieces. Individually wrap in cling film or plastic bags and place them in the fridge for at least 2 hours before you can actually use it, as it's way too soft to use at the moment. And to do my bit for the planet, I'm using this biodegradable cling film. Right, that's mine done. And if you're making this pastry the day before, take it out of the fridge an hour before you start the recipe, and that'll make it a bit more pliable. Right, back to the stove to make this amazing filling. Using a middle-sized pan on a medium heat, add the butter and allow it to melt. Once the butter's bubbling, add your diced chicken pieces. Now there's a few options of what chicken you can use. Skinned and boned thigh meat is ideal for this dish, as is breast fillet meat too. You can even use up any breast and leg meat that you have left from a roast chicken. And as I've got both, I'm going to use half thigh and half breast meat for mine. Okay, in goes my diced chicken. Now just stir fry that until it colours. Don't dice your chicken pieces too large. Small 12mm or half-inch pieces is ideal. Now you can add the salt, black and white pepper and the dried thyme all in one go and stir that in. And if you want to give your filling a little kick, you can add a 1/4 teaspoon of cayenne or hot chili powder. It's up to you. Now add your chopped garlic and give that a mix in. Time to add your mushrooms. I find the best variety is chestnut mushrooms for this filling, as they hold their shape and texture better, but ordinary button mushrooms will do fine too. Now give the mushrooms a good mix in. Now add your flour and thoroughly mix it in well. The flour taste will cook out and will thicken the filling once we add the liquids. The vinegar adds a very mild acidity and sort of brightens up the flavour of this filling. And speaking of the liquids, it's time to add the chicken stock. If you don't have any natural chicken stock, you can use 1 or 2 chicken stock cubes if you wish. But I've got some natural chicken stock and that's what I'll be using. If you do use stock cubes, start with 1 cube. Make it up in 200 ml of boiling water, then taste it to see if it needs any more. You don't want it too strong. Time to add the double or heavy cream and give that a good mix in. The cream will act as a thickening agent too. Now add your ham and mix it in. Now bring that to a simmer, and now you should see the filling starting to thicken. And at this stage you can give it a quick taste for seasoning. And this one's fine, it doesn't need any more seasoning. And remember, there's also salt in the pastry. Right, time to add the final ingredient, and that's a handful of chopped parsley. Now give that a good mix. Clean down the sides of the pan. Now turn off the heat and cover it. Now before using this filling, you need to let it completely cool and set up. You can make this mouth-watering pie filling well in advance, even the day before. Right, on to rolling out the pastry. Now, lots of viewers have mentioned in the comments that they're having great trouble rolling pastry out evenly. But this special high-quality stainless steel rolling pin is the answer. The rolling pin allows you to roll the dough out to a precise thickness, perfectly and consistently. It has different size spaces on each end, varying from thick to very thin, so it's virtually impossible to get it wrong. I'm so impressed with these pins that I've added them to the website shop. And like the caption says, this is ideal for novices or professional bakers alike. And for these pies I'm using the 1/8 or 3mm spacer. Start by dusting the bench with flour, but not too much though. Take one of your pieces of pastry. If it's still a little cold and hard from the fridge, manipulate it with your hands for a couple of minutes until it becomes pliable. Now sprinkle a little flour on the dough and start rolling it out. A quick word on the pie tins. These are the pie tins that I'll be using. I'll leave a link in the description to my affiliate UK Amazon page for a pack of 6 of these great tins. To get the right size to cut out the pastry for the base of these pies, you'll need something a little larger than the pie tin that you're using. For the lids of the pies, just use the pie tin itself. Right, I'll finish off rolling this piece out. Once the spaces hit the bench, I know I've got exactly the right thickness. Once your pastry's rolled, start cutting out the bases for the pies. Now this recipe, including the pastry, makes 6 of the pies that I'm making. But for ease of filming, I'll only show me making 4. I'll do the other 2 off camera. Once you cut them out, lightly flour each one and stack them up. Now do the same for the lids of the pies, only using your pie tin to cut these out. Right, that's all the pastries cut. Now I'll have a clean up, and when I come back, I'll put these wonderful pies together. Before going any further, preheat your oven to 170 degrees Celsius, that's 340 Fahrenheit, or gas mark 3. Before assembly, make up your egg wash. Crack 1 large egg into a container and a dash of milk. Now give that a good whisk. The milk will make the wash nice and runny and loose and easy to apply. If you want to give your finished pie a bit more colour and shine, add an extra yolk to the wash. Okay, my filling's been in the fridge for the last 2 hours, and as you can see, it's gone nice and thick. For filming purposes, I'm just transferring mine to a bowl. Make sure all your tins are greased. I like to use lard, but butter, oil or vegetable fats are okay too. Okay, time to start putting these beauties together. I'll show you how to do one from start to finish. Centre one of the pastry bases on the top and carefully manipulate it into the tin. Now using a small piece of waste pastry, press the pastry right down into the corners of the tin, expelling any air bubbles that may be trapped. And this technique is also a great hack for you girls and guys out there with long fashionable nails. Once the pie base is safely in place, you can add the filling to the pastry case. Don't worry, it's just my age. Seriously, only go level with the top of the pie tin. This filling does expand some when baking, so don't overfill. The last thing you want is the filling bursting out of the pie and covering the bottom of your oven. Give the tin a few taps on the bench. This will fill in the voids and get rid of any trapped air pockets. Brush egg wash all around the lip of the pastry. And for belt and braces, a thin coat of egg wash all around the edge of the pie lid. Try not to get any egg wash between the pastry and the tin, as this will stick when baking. Keep a small piece of kitchen towel handy to mop up any egg wash or filling that may squeeze out. Using your thumb and forefingers, crimp the two pastries together as shown. Go around a couple of times if you have to make sure it's well sealed and tidy. Once it's all nicely crimped together, give the top of the pie a good coat of the egg wash. And once again, avoid getting any of the egg wash between the pastry and the tin. Finally, using a sharp knife, cut 2 vent slits in the top of the pie. Once you have them all done, place them on a baking tray. I like to use a pizza tray as the perforations allow some heat through to the bottom of the pie tins. Place the tray on the lowest part of the preheated oven and use the bottom element if you have one. And if yours doesn't have separate elements, bake yours in the middle of the oven. Now set your timer for 40 minutes. And while those are baking, I hope you don't mind if I give my 4 recipe books a bit of a plug. The books have lots of our favourite recipes from our work kitchens in them. And also book 4 in this series is totally dedicated to bread recipes. And by popular demand, the skeleton style oven gloves are now available too. Just click on the eye icon top right of your screen and that'll take you to the website shop where all of these items are available now. Once the time's up, remove them from the oven and place the tins on a wire rack and allow them to settle for 5 minutes. Don't try to get them out of the tins just yet, because they're way too soft. And like I said earlier, this recipe yields 6 pies using these tins. And this is the other 2 that's just going in now, because my pizza tray wasn't big enough to take all 6 pies. Okay, I'll let these settle for 5 minutes, and when I come back I'll let you see what they're like on the inside and of course have a little taste. Right, it's been a few minutes and they're still quite hot, but just right for serving. And as you can see, the bottom is nicely done. Right, I'll get it onto a side plate, cut it in half and let you see the inside. And I hope you heard how crisp the bottom is as the knife went through. And oh yes, doesn't that look absolutely mouth-wateringly good? Time for a taste. Now we normally serve this pie with mash or chips and peas, with a light thin chicken gravy. And honestly, that has got to be one of the tastiest fillings you'll ever put in a pie. It really is stunning. The old word that springs to mind is moreish, the definition meaning you'll just want more. And the only way you'll know is to give it a try yourself. I promise you and your family will give this one a huge thumbs up. And as promised at the beginning of the video, here is the latest list of my Patreon, PayPal and Super Thank You button supporters. And they are Mary Catherine McKay, Martha Schmidt, Nigel Hollingworth, Mothers Essential, Ian Crosland, Angela, Peter Tenacious Muscat, Stephen Gately, Lisa Blumenthal, Michaela Walton, Michael Crosley, Ben Marlowe, David Britton, Anthony Detlin, Leslie E. Tibbets, John the Bread Whisperer, George Crossman, Howard Pierce Morgan, Harry XXV, Mohammed Fikri, Stephen Anderson, Wild Will, James K3250, Sorrels, Mike the Weaver, Janet Aspler, Shirley Rose Lee Spence, Liz Summers, The Road Home, Vince Napo, Bob Roberts, Michael O'Keefe, Tiddly D-Dog, Patrice Mooney, Katarina Courtsaver, Joan L, Fiona Wheatley, Tony Sloggett and Chris McPhee. Thanks very much guys, I really do appreciate all that you do in supporting the channel. Well, thank you again for watching. Please like, share, comment and subscribe by hitting the circle above. If you do subscribe, activate the bell icon next to the subscribe button on my channel page. And by doing that, you'll be automatically notified every time I upload a new video. And in the meantime, here's a few of my other videos and playlists that you may want to watch. So, until the next time, be safe in your kitchen and bye for now.